Hey guys, what's up? That was just the beginning of Monster Mash by Bobby Boris Prickett and some other people. Today I have a very special episode. As you can see, again, there is another chair here because I have a very special guest with me. And he and I will be talking about horror and some horror movies we like, what we like to look for in horror, and like horror comedies and just bad movies that we enjoy. But with no further ado, one of my oldest and best friends, Mr. Tyler Burdett Backus. Tyler, thanks for coming on.
No problem. How's it going, everybody?
Alright. We have our coffee here because it's somewhat early in the morning.
Yeah.
And we're ready to go.
Oh, yeah.
So, it's not quite fall yet, but it's getting close. But you and I just saw Sinister 2 the other night, and we really liked the first Sinister, so we were just kind of going to talk about our thoughts on both. So first, let's talk about what we liked about Sinister.
Sure. Yeah, well, to start off completely, heard about Sinister 2 coming out. I was totally scared, just because it's always such a great track record as scary movies progress, that they usually get worse. So I heard it without seeing the trailer. So nervous. I thought it was gonna just suck. It was gonna ruin the first one for me, I thought. Yeah. But no, I watched the trailer. It reassured my confidence in it. And seen it. Thought it was awesome. Pretty good. Same with the... Yeah. When I first watched it, I guess, it was...
The first one?
Yep. When I first watched the second one,
okay.
I actually thought it was quite up to par with the first one. Okay. And I still kind of think that. I just thought it was so interesting. Like, the first one, we got the story of the parents, but the second one, we got the story of the kids.
Right.
I don't know. I just thought it was a whole different movie.
It's an interesting way to do it. At least it wasn't. Yeah, I thought that too, because what I liked about it was it progressed the plot of the first one, and it wasn't just like a spin-off where they could have easily just gone to another house with the same family.
For sure.
The same type of setup.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, and that would have been just the same movie, only worse. But I actually liked the first one quite a bit more. And basically going into the second one, I thought, my only thing is I hope it doesn't suck. And, it didn't, I don't think. Yeah. And so I was happy with it. I think it's definitely not as good as the first. But the first I realized, because I rewatched it the day before we went to, we went to.
Yeah, and I haven't seen it for a while. So.
Right. And I really liked it. There's a lot of good shots, and Ethan Hawke really was awesome in it. But the nice thing was, like, the whole ghost story didn't really come in to play till like the second half, and it was really interesting, and it kind of was like, whoa, what's gonna happen, And with this one, that was kind of the whole time. And the main thing I didn't like about the second movie was that there wasn't an Ethan Hawke character. There wasn't really a main character to bring you through, because the deputy so-and-so, as they call him, he was there for, like, in the first one he was just a sidekick. And then all of a sudden he's sort of leading this, but yet he's not, because you're supposed to connect to the mom. Yeah. And they started that, but then they went right to the kids. Yep. And it was kind of like a weird shift in, like, sidekick to mom to kids. Yeah. And it didn't flow as well. And like my main gripe with the second one was it just wasn't quite scary enough for me. It just didn't quite scare me enough. I still liked it a lot, and I liked it as a sequel, and I think it'd be a good, to watch back to back. But I just wish it was a little scarier, honestly. And that's,
Yeah, like what you said about not scary enough. It definitely, and I kind of felt the same way with the first one. Is that it's definitely creepy, scary. They're scaring you on the creeps. Less jump scares, more creepy. Yeah, and it's just been a while since I've watched a scary movie like Sinister, because everything that people rely on nowadays is that jump scare, which of course it still had jump scares.
Yeah. And I hate jump scares.
Yeah, just cheap jump scares, close camera angles like this, and then boom, right there.
Yeah, no music, and then just a loud sound effect.
Yep.
So dumb.
Always have that in scary movies, but like those films in there, they really scare you just on how creepy it is.
And it's just a really long, drawn out, like, you don't want to watch, but
but you can't look away.
And the second one, just like some of the CGI took me out. There's so many bad effects. I was kind of like, man, and that the last film was just, I was like, it's a little too convoluted. It was like,
that one, like, it was interesting for me because I read on that like before the movie, or I just knew about the way that they killed that person, but I knew that way as a form of torture, not a form of killing.
Right.
And so it is up in the air.
And I was kind of like, oh, so are they gonna bleed to death?
Yeah, apparently. Yep.
I don't know, but I think one of my another one of the things I didn't necessarily love about the first Sinister were the ghost kids.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, one of the ghosts looks exactly like Ethan Hawke's daughter.
Yeah.
And so it's super confusing because they
really
look
dumb.
literally like the same person. And you're like, is she a ghost already?
Mm-hmm.
That was bad.
Yep.
That was a bad idea.
Yeah.
But like that cool scene where the ghost kids are running around in slow motion and he turns around, like that was super cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I still like their makeup like looked kind of fake, you know, and it wasn't like. It was really cool and I liked it, but that's why I gave it a pass because I was like, all right, that was a really cool scene.
Oh yeah.
But then in this one, the ghost kids aren't even like, they're just a kid in pale face paint. They didn't feel like ghosts and they weren't that scary.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just kind of like, it would be way creepier if like the kid is laying there and he thinks he sees something, he looks and it's just like a blurry kind of figure. And they don't really say much, and they just like point or something, and he goes, and then that would have been way scarier. I thought instead of just like you have to watch this with us. That's not. But anyway, let's give it a rating, both out of 10. So the first one, I'd give a 7.5 out of 10, and the second one, I'd give 6 out of 10.
Wow. Wish I thought about this. That's crazy. I really liked them. Like they're up there for my horror films. So I'd say 8 for the first one, and it could be because I just watched the second one still, and so it's still really hyped in my head, but I'd give it 8 for the second one too. I really liked it. I thought it was great. And like what you were saying with the kids, like they could have made it scarier, but I honestly did like the way that like the kids kind of just seemed friendly towards the
kid,
to the younger son, because they wanted him to watch the tapes. Yeah, they wanted him to watch the tapes. I'm trying to do my best without the spoilers. But obviously, like, sometimes the kid didn't want to watch the tapes, and then they'd get angry. And there was even times where they panned into, like, the dead selves, but then they came back.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I just liked how, like, the kids, they made it seem like, just watch another tape tonight. You won't have nightmares. Like, trust us, They seemed to... Yeah, like, I put myself in that situation, and I was just like, oh, that'd be awesome. One more tape, no more nightmares for the next 2 nights,
Yeah, that's true.
Like, yeah, it was less scary, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But, I don't know, still like what they did. But yeah, 8 and 8, I'd say.
Okay, that's weird. Tyler's giving out high grades today.
Yeah, I like it.
So I think definitely if you really like the first one, you're going to probably like the second one. It definitely pays.
Mm-hmm.
It honors the first one quite a bit. It continues the plot, and it's still fun. And I really hope they do a third one. Mm-hmm. I'd be excited to see it. It's definitely one where a filmmaker can kind of come in and put their own, take on it. So yeah, definitely check it out. All right, well, we are horror fans ourselves, and we really enjoy it. One of the there's some really good trilogies and anthologies in horror, and one of our favorites is the Paranormal Activity movies.
Yep.
Preferably the first trilogy, and then after that it just kind of gets worse. But I'll start with this. When I saw the first one, there was so much hype behind it. Just an incredible amount. And the main thing was everyone thought it was real, And what happened was I'd never seen it, but I remember it was before a football game, and it was like the pregame, and I was a freshman at the time, it was 2009 when it came out, and there was a senior there, and he was talking to a couple of us, and he was saying that this movie basically was an amalgamation of all of the best paranormal things that have happened on tape from all time around the world. And so I got really excited because at the time I was watching a lot of like Ghost Hunters and Ghost Hunters International. Yep. And my main thing was they never really caught much on tape, even though they had so many cameras set up. And I was like, wow, we can actually get to see real stuff. And it was a while later, and I'd rented it. And I'm sitting in my living room upstairs by myself at night, and I pop it in. And it got to almost halfway through, and I was like, this is fake. I just knew it. I was like, this is so fake. And then I just didn't like it after that, and it just kind of, I felt kind of burned by it. And, and there were all those stupid stories of like, if you have heart problems, don't go to the theater to see it. Like, 3 people have died watching this movie. And it was just, I really, unfortunately, I really didn't like it. And then I actually talked to you about it. Yeah. And you and a couple other people that got into it told me, yeah, it's fake, but like, there's kind of a cool story, that runs through it. And I was kind of like, all right, I'll watch them. And like, so I watched the second one, and I liked it way more than the first. And I was like, wow, this is cool. I really liked it. And then I watched the third one, and that one's by far my favorite. I love the third one. It's so much fun. And, and we'll talk about the other ones later. So what was your introduction to these movies? What kind of made you like them?
It's funny. Paranormal Activity was like the first scary movie that got me into scary movies, because I didn't like scary movies until then, because I was just like, nah, I don't like them, whatever. And then I was hanging out my friends were having a little get together, and they were playing Paranormal Activity, and I was like, I don't know if I want to come, and then he was just like, oh man, like Paranormal Activity, it's nothing, I was like, okay, I'll give it a try. And all it is jump scares. Yeah. And
such a slow build.
Yeah, extremely slow. You can go through like 30 minutes of the movie without anything happening. But I don't know, it did spark something for me. Really.
Was it the first one you watched?
Yeah, really interesting kinda storyline, yeah. It's just like a vlog that goes bad. And but that did get the gears turning, because I liked Paranormal Activity. It is weird to say, because it isn't a good movie, but
necessarily.
Necessarily. Well, like, it depends on how you look at it. Yeah, for sure. Because I just loved it. It was you just get together with your friends and watch it. We kind of, pick apart some of the stuff.
Which is perfect, too, because it's such a slow build.
Yeah, definitely.
And with horror movies, it's fun because, like, you're watching it, and there's so many day scenes, and nothing really happens. Yep. And so we're able, and some of it's really funnier than people think, too.
Yeah.
And so you can laugh and kind of make fun of things, then little things happen, and you're like,
whoa. Yeah.
And even just, like, a sheet moving, and you're like, oh my god, because nothing happened the whole movie.
Yep. Yeah, and so that got the gears turning for all scary movies. which then, you know, watched other ones past that. So it's got that little special connection for me, 'cause that's what introduced me to the whole horror. But I don't know, yeah, first one, you know, good, got you thrown into it. Second one, you know, the story continued, and
the second one was cool because it was like a prequel, and then it ended after the first one ended, and it was I was like, that's so interesting, and like they do that kind of stuff. They put these little interesting twists in it of the story, and like the second one, the thing I loved about the second one was it made more sense about the cameras. Was instead of just some guy holding a camera the whole time, it was security cameras that he had set up because something happened. And I was like, that's so awesome. Then you get these wide shots, and you're just like, the whole time, every night, you're just looking over the whole screen, like, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen?
Yeah, like it's easy little things to figure out like that make you, I guess, maybe feel smart and like those movies. Just like, oh, that's what happened in the first one, and you like point to your friends in the theater or whatever, like, do you remember that? And then, you know, same thing for the third one. Just has those little things, characters return. You're just like, oh my god. And, but then definitely 1, 2, 3, definitely the best. Start rolling down the hill after that. Big time. Like the fourth one.
The
fourth one with like Hunter or whatever. Man, his character sucked. Like,
that was the worst.
I wasn't even that much like of a movie critic back then, and I went and seen that, and I was just like, Hunter, you're ruining this movie for me. Just like the stupid little lines that they made him say.
It's a spoon.
Yeah, the spoon. It's just like, don't touch that spoon. It's 300 years old, or something like that. It's like, Hunter, why?
And it was kind of weird too, because all of a sudden, instead of like adults, it was 15-year-old kids.
Yeah, the kids kind of running
14.
the show.
But the boyfriend was hilarious. That was the best part.
Yeah, it's fun watching that movie for the boyfriend.
Because he's really funny.
Yeah.
Just by himself.
Yep, that's great.
But there's little things in that where they try to be creative, but it's just kind of, it's not real. Like, when FaceTime records, like, they don't do that. Like, you can't. And the Connect doesn't make those dots.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like, some of that is like, well, that'd be cool. And then one of the things that should have been one of the scariest part was the knife in that movie.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't. You know, it was like, come on. But I want to talk about the third one quick.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
But the third one's really cool because that's a true prequel, going back to where the sisters from the first two, now that were adults, in the third one they're little kids. And it was when they were growing up in like the 70s or 80s or whatever. It was probably the 80s. And their childhood home, and like that one just had, it was just so much fun because stuff happened, and he was like, his job was he would film like parties for people and stuff. So he had all these cameras, and then stuff was happening, so he decided to set them up around the house. And the oscillating fan was the greatest thing I've ever seen. What they did was they took a normal oscillating fan and they put a camera on it, so it just slowly goes. Oh my god!
Back and forth through like 2 rooms.
So great.
Because it's like, even on nights that nothing happened on that fan, you're sitting there like,
it's coming back.
It's just so suspenseful, you know. That was great.
Alright, we're not going to get into spoilers, but definitely, I think you can buy the first 3 on Blu-ray, at least that's what I did, for like $10. I was like, it's a really good deal. And they're fun to watch and rewatch too, because you forget the main stuff. Like, the main stuff that happens you remember, but like, you don't remember when it happens, and there's so many nights that nothing happens that you're like, is this a night? I don't remember, you know? And so they're really fun to rewatch. The fourth one sucked. And I hated the marked ones.
The marked ones was just
bad.
In the mix. You know, it was weird.
It was just, it was a spin-off, and it just didn't really do anything. It was just...
And they ended up throwing in, like, one of those characters, too, right? Just to, like...
From the first one. Which kind of ruined that part in the first one for me. I was like, that's stupid.
The marked one was awful.
That's bad. And he, like, gets superpowers.
Yeah.
Right through it was so dumb.
Yeah.
And the beginning wasn't bad when they had that creepy, like, lady who lived beneath him or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And there was that naked chick, that naked fat, and you're like, what is going on?
Yeah, they creeped you out a little bit.
And, like, I was like, alright, you know, and then and there were, like, four big different climactic endings, like the first one. And like, one of them would have been okay, but they kept doing them. They're all so different, and I thought they all just sucked.
Oh, yeah, it was a really bad movie.
Oh, hated it. And now this new one is coming out called Ghost Dimensions.
Yeah.
Looks bad.
But it looks like it could have been called Paranormal Activity 5, though, because the way the trailer portrayed it made it look like it was coming off of...
4.
Yeah, 3. Because that's the one with the little girls, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like, they're watching those films. But, yeah, the fact that they're not calling it Paranormal Activity 5 scares me. But I swear...
I'll see it, though.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Like, that's the thing about these, is that we're hooked on the first 3, and even though I seen the marked ones on DVD and it looked so bad, I bought it. I guess it was at a pawn shop, but I was just like, well, I gotta watch it. It's Paranormal Activity. I have to watch it. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll definitely see it, and then see what we think about that. But
definitely. But yeah, it's fun. Definitely in a group to watch these. Definitely check that out.
You need a group to watch.
Yeah, because I've watched it by myself and it's still fun, but it's more fun when you have your friends with you for sure.
Yeah.
And then another horror franchise that I really like is Scream. I don't know if you've ever seen any of those.
Yeah, no, I have.
They're really fun.
Yep.
One night, I had a movie night where we watched all 4 in a night, back to back to back to back, and that was awesome. Because it was in an old lake house that I lived in at night, and it was storming out. And I actually found the same buck knife my grandpa had in this old chest that the Scream killer used, the ghost face, and I was like, that's really creepy and awesome. But it's so fun, and like, now if you show it to modern people, they'll just be like, oh, this is what Scary Movie ripped off. You know, just so much.
Yeah.
But it's still great because the first one is amazing. It just because the whole time it's meta, and it's like, it knows it's a scary movie, and like, literally one of the friends is like, these are the rules of a scary movie, this is what's gonna happen, and then that stuff happened, and stuff, and I was like, that is awesome, like, it's so much fun, and 2 and 3 suck, I'll say that, but they're still fun to watch, because the second one, like, it's like, alright, these are the rules of a horror sequel, the third one's like, this is the, rule of a horror trilogy, and I'm like, that's so much fun. Like, I don't even care if they're not good.
Yeah.
And Ghostface, it's a great killer. And the first one's probably the best. It goes first, and then the fourth, and then probably 2 and 3 or whatever. But I really like them a lot.
Great.
Definitely, we should do that sometime.
Yeah.
Because it's a really fun night. I definitely think check those out because it's like the best modern day slasher flick. Because all the slasher flicks you see now are basically just a Halloween ripoff. Halloween's great, and they literally took everything from Halloween, and that's all they are. And at least this one turns it on its head, because they're like, this is what happens in a slasher flick, and it's so much fun. Really fantastic films. I really like those. So that's a good horror movie. Obviously, Halloween, the quintessential slasher movie. Friday the 13th is kind of dated. It's not as good. The first one isn't that good, and then they kind of get bad. Yeah. But I've heard the 6th one is like the best of the originals, which is weird.
Really?
Because they finally embraced that it was just like a slasher movie.
Yeah.
And just did it, Yeah. Then Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original, still horrifying.
Yeah.
It's still so scary. Cause I saw when I was a kid, and that just scared. Like, I saw Friday the 13th when I was a kid too, and that scared me a lot. And I went back and rewatched as an adult, and I'm like, that's not scary, But the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I'm almost scared to rewatch it. It was so scary.
I never wanted to watch that.
And like my house that we're in right now, the entryway looks just like the entryway of that house. And that movie is frightening, man. It's so scary.
Yeah.
We have to watch that too.
I don't know.
It's so scary. God, what are some other? Oh, The Exorcist is scary. I think that gets a little dated because everyone says that's the scariest movie of all time, and like the production was like really cursed, and a bunch of people died making it in really weird ways. And it's still creepy. It's not like as creepy as it was. You know, it's definitely a little dated. The Omen is pretty scary. Again, a little dated, but like a lot of those are really disturbing, and they'll like stick with you really bad. You know. But if you're kind of getting into horror and you don't really want that really hardcore like stuff that will keep you awake forever, I think Paranormal Activity is a good one to start with.
For sure, start on that.
It's not super scary, but it's still fun, and it's scary enough.
Like I said, I started on that, and like I didn't want anything to do with scary movies. Started on that. Man, I'm just rolling in them,
And another one that I really recommend is The Woman in Black, which you haven't seen.
Yeah, we're gonna watch that one of these days.
And I really liked that movie. When it first came out, I was like, wow, it was pretty scary, you know? Like, there were a lot of parts where I was like, this is really scary. And it's not so scary that it, like, will keep you awake at night, but there's definitely... It's still, like, just the setup alone is, like, really scary.
The way that you explained it, being trapped there.
Yeah, because this guy, like, he like, has to review all these papers because they have to sell this estate, and it's, like, in the 1800s or something, really old. And so this house in the middle of, like, this bog lake thing, and there's only one road to get there, so he has to go out, but then the tide comes up at night, so the road, you can't leave. And so it's like if you go there at night, he's trapped there. And this house is so scary and abandoned. And super creepy in the house itself. Just like amazingly scary. And then you can't leave. But then if you go outside, it's a graveyard outside. And it's haunting the graveyard. And it's just like, that alone is awesome. And it's just... And there's no electricity, there's no TV, you know, because it's way back. So he just has some candles lit. The only thing when you're watching it is you're just like, okay, human curiosity is not this strong. Because he'll just, literally everything, he'll walk into the scariest rooms as slowly as possible.
Oh, man, yeah.
And it's just like, and the whole time, it's the classic, don't go in there.
Yeah.
It's like, don't go in there. Don't do it.
Yeah.
You know? And he just slowly does, and the whole time you're like, why are you going in there? But it's awesome. That's a good one to start you off, because it's scary enough where it's scarier than Paranormal Activity. It'll scare you, but it's not like amazingly scary, and it's got a fun, story too, sort of. I hate when people are like, oh, it's just Harry Potter because it's Daniel Radcliffe, because that was the first movie he did after that. And, like, that just makes me mad, but that doesn't matter. Another one that I really like is a couple is, like, Vacancy. I don't know if you've ever seen that. With Luke Wilson and Kate Beckinsale, I think. Just about this couple that goes to this creepy old motel to stay, and, stuff starts happening. It's a slasher flick, technically, but really well done, I thought. Really scary. It's not like the scariest, but I really enjoyed it, because for me, horror movies and comedies are similar in the way they have to do one thing, and that's scare me. And if they scare me, then that's fine. Like, nothing else really matters that much, as long as it can scare you. And Vacancy definitely scared me. Another one I love, I just bought on Blu-ray, is The Strangers. Because that's really scary. And it's also scary because, Vacancy was scary because I've stayed at a bunch of creepy old motels a lot, and they're always scary. And then Strangers, I stayed in a house similar to that with similar backstory, so it really hits home. But that one's really scary too. That one's probably second level once you get into it. If you want a little bit more, that would probably be a good one to watch. I'm just trying to bust through these quick so we mention them.
Yeah, sure.
The Ring, that's a really good one.
Yeah.
That's really good. Really, really, really good. That's a fun one because it has a really cool story and it's super scary the whole time. Really disturbing and like thrilling at the same time. Really, that's a really fun movie too. Which again, like, Scary Movie made fun of pretty hard too. And then one that you and I both really like is Insidious, and that's a good franchise. And one where when we first saw Insidious, we didn't necessarily like it because it was in bad circumstances when we watched it. And which, you know, like we said with Paranormal Activity, it's good to watch in a group of people, but you want everyone to be able to be into it and watching it. Like, if you're in a bad room with, like, people who aren't really paying attention and being loud, like, it'll ruin the movie.
It will.
No matter what movie it is. I can't stress that enough.
Yeah, because with Insidious, I watched it, like, at a party, so there was, like, 13 people there or something like that. Yeah, and this was back when we were in high school, and so there were even younger girls there watching it. That the entire movie, they're blah 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 blah, and just made the movie just. I thought it was a horrible movie because of that. Rewatched it later; it was a good movie.
Really, really good. That one's a good entry level too. I wouldn't say it's second level because it's not super horrifying, but it's really fun.
Yeah,
like it
is a fun movie. It's a fun, scary movie. Yeah.
Yeah, which is awesome because it's not one where you won't be able to sleep after. Yeah, you know. But it's like it does its job. It scares you. It's creepy. Yeah. But yet it's a fun adventure. You know, it's fun to go through. And James Wan directed it, who also, you know, he's a really good horror director. Just a really, really fun movie. I mean, that's
they were. You laugh.
Good. It is.
Some good times.
Really good acting. You know, really good story. And the thing I love about those movies is what James Wan does. He'll put jump scares in there, but they're not false scares. Yeah. Like, there'll be a jump scare, but it'll be something like, Chris Stuckman has a great video out there. You should check him out. He's my favorite YouTube reviewer. But he has a video called The Problems with Horror Movies Today. And he talks about James Wan, and he says that. He's like, you know, because he hates jump scares. And he's like, James Wan uses jump scares, but it's always for something you're supposed to be afraid of. Yeah. It's not like some stupid friend or a stupid ball hitting a window or some dumb... I hate that.
Just like blast through the door.
Oh, it's your friend. It's just... At least, like, it's always a demon or, like, something that you're supposed to be scared of, and it actually works that way. Really fantastic film. I liked the second one too, but not nearly as much as the first. And I haven't seen the third one yet, which I really want to see it, but I've heard it's pretty good.
Yeah. The second one, I think I laughed more at, but I guess it's been a while since I've seen the first one. But like,